Music in video games has been around for almost as long as video games even existed. Growing from simple synthesizer chiptunes to fully orchestrated scores, a lot of these themes have been engraved into the minds of players everywhere. And that's why we're here today, to count down the very best of them. Now, while it is impossible to cover all the great music that the world of video games has to offer, I'll be doing my best to cover the top picks by the GameCola's staff, some personal favorites from me, as well as others. But first, some ground rules. This list is compiled of individual games as well as franchises to avoid more than one entry in a series from taking up more than one spot on this list. And keep in mind that this is purely opinion based, so your favorites may not be on here, but feel free to leave any recommendations down in the comments below. Now without further ado, let's get started. This is GameCola's Top 20 Video Game Soundtracks. Now, in the grand scheme of things, BioShock would have been a perfectly serviceable survival horror game had it not even had a soundtrack to begin with. The visual atmosphere alone is enough to get your skin crawling. While most horror games just make the soundtrack an omniscient ambience of creepy sounds and atmosphere, BioShock goes the extra mile to make even the most beautiful instruments sound like they came from a watery hell. And while the soundtrack for the first two games reflect on the utopian insanity of their settings, BioShock Infinite does the same, but with more of a formal attitude than represented in the depths of Rapture. Deep, insane, and overall haunting, the BioShock soundtrack is a piece that perfectly reflects everything presented. When it comes to RPGs, the abundance of great themes could make a list of their own, with The Secret of Mana being high on that list. Pushing the audio capabilities of the Super Nintendo to their limits, this is a remarkably eloquent and engrossing soundtrack that was assembled with as much care and attention as the game itself, with the most impressive tracks being the ones that allow you to slow down and take in the beautiful scenery. Earthbound for the Super Nintendo is the very definition of quirky. The characters, the writing, and especially the music capture that wonderfully. It has a wide enough range to capture almost every emotion and aspect of going on an adventure. From calm and quirky, heartfelt and content, hyper and energetic, and batshit fucking crazy. It's a soundtrack that reflects a truly unique and different kind of RPG that hasn't been topped until, well, you know where this is going. If you thought Earthbound could get unapologetically crazy, then you, my friend, have not played Undertale. From all you can tell, the Undertale soundtrack mixes synthesizer tones of the 8-bit era of gaming with the live pop-rock sounding melodies to create a truly unique soundtrack for an untraditionally unique game. Mainly on this list because there's really nothing else like it out there. Yeah, we're just all about the adventure games today. And while others are probably better subjectively, the Monkey Island games are a favorite amongst the GameCola's staff, and for good reason. It adds a very distinct tropical feeling that adds to the adventurous vibe of the whole game. A fun game with funny characters, clever gameplay, and a killer soundtrack make this one of LucasArts' classic point-and-click masterpieces. And now it's time for something different. While the previous entries mostly feel like adventures, Donkey Kong Country's soundtrack sounds like a damn jungle party. Every single level in every game has a distinct, memorable theme. From the Super Nintendo trilogy to the Game Boy ports and beyond, the Donkey Kong Country series has been through a lot, but will always keep that spry, upbeat attitude that will always keep gamers coming back for more. Now, while most of the soundtracks on this list are more for easy listening during levels, the Shadow of the Colossus soundtrack is all about the experience the player has with it. You're just riding on your horse through a field, wondering in anticipation of what the hell you're gonna fight next. Only when you see it in the distance does the loud bass music start to play. Intimidation builds up as you get closer and closer, the pitch gets deeper as you get more afraid. You have no idea what to do for the longest time, and then, it hits you. As soon as you figure out how to defeat the Colossus, the game recognizes it and starts playing the victory music ahead of time. It's one of the more perfect relationships between build-up and payoff in video games. And when you achieve victory and it's all over, you just look around the vast open plains, only to go forward to your next foe. Dude. In your epic quest to catch them all, is there any other arrangement you would rather listen to? Shut up. Pokemon soundtracks provide an excellent balance of hectic yet encouraging battle themes and tone-setting route and town themes, thus making the games more about the journey than the overall destination. As far back as Pokemon Red and Blue, the variety was present. You had the soft, gentle welcoming of Pallet Town, the mysterious vibes of the Viridian Forest, the metropolitanism of Selden City, the haunting track of Lavender Town, and so on and so forth. It all builds up to the amazing gym leader theme and the showdown between you and your rival of the game. The later games would only try to surpass these. Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire get a lot of flack for the overuse of the synthesizer trumpet sounds, but in my opinion the tunes are still catchy in their own right, and the remakes kinda make up for it. Overall, the main series Pokemon soundtracks are both fun to listen to and the perfect accompaniment to your never-ending Pocket Monster collectathon. Epic. That's the only thing that describes the Elder Scrolls soundtrack in a nutshell. The 5 main series games have gone on to include some of the biggest soundtracks in gaming yet, each one getting bigger and bigger as the technology and opportunities grow as well. Oblivion's soundtrack was so epic that the only way Bethesda could top it for Skyrim was to add a big dramatic choir singing the language of dragons. Even the slower and more peaceful tracks in Elder Scrolls still sound epic, but in a more subtle manner that's actually kind of relaxing. Well, that's all I got for today, guys. Tune in later for part 2, which will cover the top 10 soundtracks, and which will be up, honestly, whenever I can get it done. But in the meantime, look out for a Halloween-related review, and if you like what you see here and you want to see more, click that subscribe button so you never miss a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.